So good evening all participants and good evening sir. Welcome to Plexus 2D Boot Camp organized by School of Civil Engineering, Lovely Professional University, Punjab. So today is the day 3 in which we'll see the staged construction. Till now we have seen only single stage construction. Now we will go for the multiple stage construction in which we'll see the submerged construction of an excavation. So in this, our objectives are the modeling soil structure interaction using the interface feature. We'll create the interface feature for making the soil and structure interface or getting the what interface giving the between the soil and the structure which we'll create. Advanced soil models like in last we have seen the soft in that Mohr Kulam. Here we'll see the soft soil and hardening soil model. In the previous one, we have seen the drained condition. Now in this, we will go for the undrained type. And then we'll see the fix and anchor also we'll use. Create and assigning the material data set for anchors. And then we will see the simulation of excavation. And at the last result, we will see that how it is showing the deformation, settlement, then we'll see the shear force, bending moment, and other outputs. And finally, we'll create a graph. Right. So next, this is the geometry model for the situation which we'll do today. Here you can see this is the soil model where upper structure 20-meter depth of the clay, and below of this we have the sand, which is again 20-meter, 30-meter. Right. Then we have a diaphragm wall, 2 diaphragm wall. We have to excavate this area. For what we have to excavate it, we have to fit the tunnel here and after excavation. So in this, we'll use the strut here, and we assume that the load is also coming up from the this side. So the distance is already given here. So 30-meter is the this width, and depth is the again 19, then 30-meter also the depth is there, right? So we can just see here the construction of an excavation close to a river. As we can say, this is a submerged excavation is carried out in order to construct a tunnel by installation of prefabricated tunnel segment which are floated into the excavation and then sunk onto the excavation at the bottom, means up to here. Here we want to create a means put the tunnel after excavation. The excavation is 30-meter wide and final depth is 20-meter, and it extends to the longitudinal direction for a large distance so that a plane strain model is applicable. Here we will not use the asymmetric model because in this is not a circular. This is the vertically we have excavated. So we'll use the plane strain. These sides of the excavation are supported by 30-meter long diaphragm wall. So these are the diaphragm walls, which is the 30-meter length we can say, and vertically these are inserted. So which are braced by a horizontal strut at an interval of 5 meter, and along with the excavation, a surface load is taken into account. So the load is applied from 2 meter from the diaphragm wall up to the 7 meter from the wall, and its magnitude is 5 kilonewton per meter square per meter. So the upper 20-meter subsoil is the clay. As you can see here, this is the homogeneous soil. We assume that this is a homogeneous soil of clay, and this is the sand here. So if we see here, since the geometry is symmetric, so only half side we will consider for the analysis. So this is, you can see the load, same load is on this side and same load on this side also. So we'll do the half of this in this. The excavation process is simulated in 3 separate excavation stages. We'll do it in the 3 stages. One excavation stage like this. Firstly, we'll create it on this first 5 meter or this first 1 meter, and then we apply the strut, and then second excavation, and then third excavation. So then we'll insert the diaphragm wall also in between, and then we'll see that how to draw it in the software. So let's move to the software. Now I am sharing my entire screen. I think it is visible. I am assuming it is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now again we'll start with the new project here. So start a new project, and I am giving the name of this project as the staged construction. And comment, you can write anything. I am writing here submerged construction of an excavation. So in the next, so model will be the plane strain here, element 15 noded, units will be same, and this here you can see the clay is the above ground surface and the sand is the below ground surface. So how we'll create that? X minimum will always 0, and X maximum will horizontal side will take it to 65. It is the 65. Y minimum is the downward side. So this is minus 30, which is the sand only. And 20 meter above the ground, we can say 20. So it will be created, this contours, and everything all will be the same. So I'll click on OK. Then either I can create a borehole from here or from here. So today I'll take from here. So this is created, and then I click on the origin. So this type of soil modify layer window will open. So here we have a 2 layers. So I will add the 2 layers here. So top layer is from 20 meter to 0, and then 0 to minus 30. Is it? So this is 0 to minus 30, and I will take as a 18 meter as the head, because this is a submerged condition, river is there. So I'm assuming the water is there. And now next is I have to assign the material. For material assigning, so you can go from here directly, material option. So here we have a material of the clay and sand. The properties, these properties I have already these properties. So you also can get the property from the lab testing data or from the some reference from the papers or research or literature. So here I'm in clay, and this clay is the soft soil. The material model is a soft soil, and drain type is undrained. Color, you can decide any color. So saturated, unsaturated, unit weight, that is 16 here, and then saturated weight is 18. Wide ratio is 1 here. Then next is the, you can go the next from here. So here it is given as the modified compression index, which is lambda, which is 3e minus 2. Then this is a k, which is known as the modified swelling index. This is 8.5 e minus 3. Okay. Then what we need here, we need the C, phi, and xi. So cohesion is 1, phi is 25, and this is 0 here, and other everything will be constant. And then I move to the ground water. Then in this we can see the kx and ky. This is the permeability. So in the permeability 0.001, and same it is 0.001. Okay, this is done. Then thermal is not applied here. Interface. So in interface we see the strength. This is the manual. and then we put the R inter. This is the strength reduction factor. This is R inter is the strength reduction factor, which is 0 point in this case. And then finally the initials, where this is automatic and this values are 1, and this is the over consolidation ratio. This is top, this over consolidation ratio, and this is the pre overburden pressure. So pre overburden pressure, I'm taking 5. Okay, so this is done. This is for clay. Next one, I have to add for the sand also. So for the sand, I have to take the hardening soil here. So this is the hardening soil. Condition is drained. 17, 20. Now I am going little faster. Okay. So here, this is the which is called stiffness in standard drain triaxial test, E50 reference, which is the 4E4, and other things. I think these will be automatically filled correctly. So this is also filled. This is the M power, which is 0.5. Power of stress level dependency of the stiffness. And other things, C phi, this C phi and xi we have to put. So C is 0, this is sand. Then this is 32 and xi is 2. Then stiffness 0.2 here. And then K naught, another is 0.470. These are the same. Now next one, the groundwater. Here again we have to put the K max and Kx and Ky, which is 1 1. And finally we have to move to the here, which is the manual. Strength is the manual, and it is 0.67, and this is the automatic one, and here overburden pressure will be 0. So now I clicked as the OK. Now I assign it from here. So top layer is the clay and bottom layer is the sand. Okay, so this is created now. So this is the sand and this is the clay and this is the sand. Now this is soil stratigraphy is created, and now next is the create the structural element. Now what is the structural element here? The structural element is the one is the diaphragm wall, and another is the strut, which is applied on the top here. Diaphragm wall is in this side and strut is there here. So now I move to the structure, and in structure first I have to apply the diaphragm wall. So in the diaphragm wall, we can take it from here. Okay, this is the create plate, and diaphragm wall is from 30 meters from here, and then 15 we can take here, 15, 50 and 20. So this is from here to downward side up to 30. So up to 30, this is 20 up to the clay, and then 10 meter the sand. So this is the diaphragm wall. Right, if we click the right click, so this will be deselect. Okay, so this is created. Now I have to give this property also this. So two option is there to create the property. One is from show material, I can create from here, or if I do not want to go here, so directly I will check it from here and then click on the plus option, and directly this will come in front of us. So now here I can write as the diaphragm wall. So diaphragm wall. So this is the elastic isotropic, and this is a normal stiffness, which is 7.5 E6, Then flexural rigidity EI, which is 1 E6, and this is the weight 10 and mu is 0. So now I click on OK, and this is automatically assigned to this. So this is already blue, right? So next one, I have to create a strut here. Then we will go for the, so before that I have to create the interface, because interface also is in our objective. So how I create the interface? So right click here, create positive interface, and right click here, create the negative interface. So now this diaphragm and this soil have the interface, positive and negative interface between this. Then next one is the create the strut. So for creating the strut, again I go here. This is the create fix and anchor, and this will be applicable at somewhere here. 50, 20 is there, and 50, 19, I think. Okay, here. No. 15. Wait a second. Huh? Okay, this is at this position. Yeah, at the 15, 19, because, and it will be go up to the 15 meter from this horizontal, because total depth width is the 30. So either way, I can click, press the escape button or right click, it will be removed from here. So now I also apply this strut property. So this will be the strut, and the property for the strut is this elastic, and the normal stiffness is 2e⁻⁶, and this spacing is the 5 meter, right? And click OK, and this x direction is the 15. In this x direction, it is the 15 meter, right? So now this strut is also applied. So the next is I have to create the level of excavation. So first level of excavation, I create the line. So first level of excavation, I will start from this 1518 to 6518. First I'll create from here. Second will start from 1510 from here to here, and third one is the this one, which is already defined here. So these three stage we will excavate it. First we'll excavate this first one, then fix the strut here, then we excavate the second one, and then excavate third one, and then we'll check what is the effect of the load over here, right? So then after a strut we have applied here. So now distributed load over here. So for distributed load, we have this create line load, and this is 2 meter from away from here up to 7 meter. So if I, this is the 2 meter, this 40, 20 up to the 5-1, it move 48, 20 to 43, 20. Okay, this is right. Now we have created the load also, and when we give this value, which is -5. It was given in the question starting. So this is the -5 applicable here, right? So now this is done. The structured part is over, soil part is over. In soil we have given this clay properties and sand property. In the structural part we have fix this diaphragm wall, fix the strut, and create the lines for the excavation and fix this load here, line load, right? So next one is the mesh generation. So in the mesh generation, directly we'll click on the generate mesh, and this is medium. We'll take it as a medium, and okay. And now we'll see that how the mesh is generated. And now you can see here, this is the generated mesh. So you can see the stress or the points nodes are higher in this area where we have the large deformation, and this side is a larger. So why? Because the stress points are more in this particular area where we have a settlement or displacement. Now here two type of displacements are there. One is the vertical and another is the horizontal, because it will go like this, and this strut will be give the restriction to go into the horizontal direction. Right, now I close it. Now further next part is the going for the define the perform and the calculation stage construction. So in stage construction, first initial phase always the same. So it will be the Keynote procedure, stage construction, everything will be same. So now we'll start with the phase 1. So right now I'm not giving any name to the phase, but you can give the name to the phases according to so that you can remember these phases, name of the phases. Like phase 1, in the phase 1 I'm activating this diaphragm wall. I'm activating this diaphragm wall and activating that load which is coming from the top. So how I can select these all, because if I select this one, so this one will be selected only, or if I select this total, I cannot select this total together. So there is the option, they select multiple objects. So select the multiple objects, select the lines and select plates here. So when I select this, so it will be selected totally. I'll click on the right click here and then activate it. So one option is this, either you can click from here or you can click directly from here, interface and load, interface, load and plate also, because this diaphragm is the, so if I activate it, so line, plate and interface will be activated and line load is remaining. So again I'll click on line load, right click here and activate. You can see this will be checked out. So directly either you can check it from here, so you do not need to do this process, right? So here in stage 1 I have activated this diaphragm wall and the load. Now stage 2, in the stage 2 I will excavate the first layer. So which one is the first layer? This top one is the first layer, this one. So if I deactivate it, so this is excavated now, right? So in second one I have excavated this first layer. Okay, so now after that we have stage 3. Now after excavation of this, we have to apply the strut. So if we apply the strut, so then we can excavate the second one. So in stage phase 3, I will click on the strut and right click and activate it. So either you can do from here or from here directly. Click or check or uncheck, you can put from here. So now this is activated. So next one is you have to deactivate the second stage or this second excavation phase. So next phase I have added and click here, deactivate. So this is also deactivating. And final, this one is there. So finally we'll also deactivate this third phase. So at phase 5, I am deactivating this layer also. Now we have deactivating the up to here. We have deactivating the everything. Now we can put our or we can put our tunnel here, and then either we can create the some foundation here first and then put the tunnel and then fill again of that one. But now we want to see that what is the effect of this load on this area or on this diaphragm wall without filling of this, right? So now up to here we can see, now we'll see this execution of the calculation. So for that we can anyone tell me where is the maximum deformation in this? Anyone can tell me where is the maximum deformation, at top, middle or bottom? Yes, please.
At the bottom.
Middle it will be, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be come in the center around here. So if I take firstly I would take to the stress point where it will give the maximum deformation, or so that will be around 50 by 10. So 50 by 10 is near about here. So if I check the closest point of this, so that will be this one. So you can see it is near about at the second excavation phase. This is second excavation phase. We can get this point here, exactly there. So either you can select it from here. So you can see in this command option is bottom. Here you can get the coordinates, and when you move your cursor, so it will give the correct 5010, or you can simply write here the coordinates and click on the search closest point. You can check the closest point here and then update it. So once you update, then calculate. So I want to calculate all the phases. This time it is not giving any here any dialog, because we have already selected the point. If you are not selected the point, then that will give an error here. Okay, now calculation is done. Now we'll see the results. So view calculation results. So now you can see here, this is a deformed mesh, and this area you can see this is the vertical settlement and this area is the horizontal settlement, because this stress is trying to support it. So if I show you again and I'm not applying this stress, I'm deactivating this stress, then what is the result here? So that will also the interesting results are there. So where we have activated the stress, this strut, I think at the phase 3. So if I remove it from here and then I calculate this, calculate all phases. Now we can see here. No, again we have to remove from all, not only from this, because once we have activated as phase 3, so it will be automatically activated for the further phases. It is taking little bit time now. You can see here it is showing this post excess pore water pressure. It is very high going now. This is 24, 21. So previously it was not there. It is lesser. Okay, so now it is not calculating the phase 5 because soil body seems to be collapse. Inspect the input results. So because error is coming because of this soil body is totally failed due to the load coming from here, because we have not activated the start here. So now I'm activating it again. So phase 3, phase 5. So you can just play with this software anyhow, just what you want. That's why it is taking time. Now it will be complete easily. Okay. So now we can see the results. Now how was the result? How is the result here? So first is this, which is the deformed mesh. So second is results is the deformation. So deformation is a total displacement. How is the total displacement? So this is the total displacement, which is showing the maximum at this point. Maximum at this point and small deformation at the here. And if I checked it for increment, no, total, this is, yeah, incremental displacement, then you can see this is the incremental displacement. And if you check from here, so maximum at this point, and it goes as the lesser and minimum here. Obviously minimum it started from this point where the effect is not going. So now this is the deformation, and if I check the stress, principal stresses, so again it is given the principal stresses. This is the maximum value and this is the minimum value. So I also can check the, yeah, if I double click on the diaphragm wall, If I double click on the diaphragm wall directly, so it will give these are the axial forces. So axial forces, then if I click on the forces, then axial forces, shear force, it will give you the shear force also. How is the shear force in that? This is shear force diagram, and also I can check the bending moment diagram. So this is the bending moment diagram, maximum value at this side and minimum value also given by this at this negative side. Nodes also given where is the it is giving the values, right? So these are there. So next one is to create the last objective is create the curve. So we can create the curve by this curve manager. There's a curve manager here. Click on new, and we are interested to create the curve between the deformation and load. This is M stage is denoted as the load here. So if I click on OK, so now you can see this is giving the results for construction stages. For each stage, the parameters given changes from 0 to 1. So first it is changing from first stage 0 to 1, then coming 0, then again 0 to 1, second one, this is third one, and this is for fourth one, right? And the decreasing slopes of the curve is the large stage indicated that the amount of plastic deformation is increasing. So this means every stage having the different this load versus settlement curve, which is started from again 0 to 1, 0 to 1, right? So with this we can create the curve also. You can save this curve for the future reference, or directly if you click on the view, and again if you click on the curve manager, so you will get that curve will be already saved here. So you can create the number of curve for the different stages. Like if I check this, copy this curve first and double click here, so then I can see different phases are there. If I remove these phases from here and I checked for the phase 4, so then I can click OK. Only phase 4 you can check. This is the curve for the phase 4, right? And if you check for the phase 3 also, same thing you can do for the oil, and then you can check the how the phases, different phases are showing the results. So that which I was created, that was the combined curve, right? So this is all about the submerged construction of an excavation. Okay, is it? Okay, understand? Am I audible?
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. One more thing is there, which was yesterday. I was seeing there about the safety factor, right? So I want to show that one also. So this is the if I open the previous, so I'm saving it here. So you can save in between also, and so I'm saving it here. So we created this one. So it is not working here. The factor of safety is not working here because this is not a slope. So factor of safety will come very high according to this software. But if when we'll do the day 4 one or tomorrow, that for the slope stability, then we'll check the exact factor of safety. So if I check the factor of safety for this application, then how we can check? We already calculated the this application for the factor of safety. So phase 2, this is for footing, and phase 3 is for the factor of safety. So I'll click on here. I have already created the graph for the factor of safety, or we can create it from the new. And this side, X side, will not create anything here, and this side will create this factor of safety, which is summation of MSF, which is denoting the factor of safety. So this is showing the factor of safety. So the value is very high. I'm also seeing that the value is very high up to here. So exactly we can get it into the slopes. So it is not for this purpose. Okay. So now, so thank you so much. Now I'm closing my presentation here, so we can have a discussion after that. Now we can see some discussion in the chat box.
Yeah, thank you, Vidyasagar. So, any comment from any participant? I would like to hear from you before we start addressing the question answer session. So, how was the session? How was the today's session? Let me share the feedback link also. Before, by the time you can unmute yourself and you can speak about the session.
Thank you very much. It was a very great session. Really, I wanted to speak about the parameters for the soils for C and Phi for different types of soil models. If we mention to some properties of soil, it would be good. Thank you.
See, there are different constitutive models available in the Plaxis, but then you need to understand the type of soil that you have and the type of constitutive model that will fit into the soil. Okay. So, but then accordingly you have to get the parameters. If you select Mohr-Coulomb model, then the parameters are simply C, phi, okay, and then dilation angle is used, and elastic properties like elastic modulus and Poisson's ratio are used. So some width and unit weight which is used for the gravity stresses. So those things are simple to obtain, and being a geotechnical engineer, we have been comfortable with these parameters and we are using since a very long time, like on the beginning itself we are doing that, but then with time we understood that it is not going to fit in all type of soils. So that's the reason different constitutive models were developed, but then accordingly the parameters also change. Okay, if you select a different constitutive model, the parameters will change, and then you have to get those parameters from lab experiments or field test or using some correlation or maybe some way you have to find those parameters. So that becomes a bit tricky to get, but then it is always suggested that use the correct constitutive model for your problem statement. So hope I could answer your question, Mahmoud Hussain.
Yes, thank you. But I asked about the clay. I didn't found any clay has large internal angle of friction and low, very low, maybe very low for soft clay, I know, but high angle of internal friction and very low cohesion. I didn't see this properties for the clay. Yes,
Yes,
I
I got
see
your
it
question.
in the
Actually, in this application, we taken as the C is 1 and phi is more than that in clay. So that's why I'm saying that the data I have taken it from the literature, and so we have to find this data in the labs so we can get the exact results. Then we can get the different values in that. Right now, these are not.
oh, so
That, yeah.
so these parameters from literature, not from experimental work or from
No.
actual.
This is not from experimental work. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So another question, one question was is there
Yeah,
that
actually, I just see the soil parameters that are taken in solving these problem. Actually, these they are taken from the manual only. So we have not taken these parameters from any field test or any laboratory test results. That is one thing. But then there is always a confusion. And this is one of the biggest confusion that we all geotechnical engineer normally have. What is that confusion? I'll just explain a bit, and then you will understand that what I mean to say. Is it my whiteboard is visible to you? I'm using a paint
yes, sir,
Yes,
it is
sir.
visible.
document. Yeah. Now
Yes, we see it. We
this
saw.
this C and phi is a very funny parameter. Okay, normally we call this as soil shear strength parameters. Okay, but normally people get confused and they say that these are the properties, which is wrong. And we should never relate that C and phi are the properties. They are just parameters, shear strength parameters, because we define the soil shear strength as C plus sigma tan phi. And if we use this equation in terms of effective stress, we all know that we represent this with dash, because C dash as this sigma dash is sigma minus U, which is total stress minus pore water pressure. Now, I'm just going to confuse you. Normally we say that, sorry, what we say, when it is a clay, you relate this clay with cohesion, and normally you say that this cohesion will be high and the phi will be 0. Is it not? And when we talk about sand, we say that the cohesion component will be 0 or close to 0, and it will have phi. Am I right saying this? My question is here. I want to listen from the participants. Am I right saying this? The clay has a cohesion component and sand has a angle of internal friction.
No, maybe
No, sir.
clay has apparent angle of internal friction, and the sand maybe have apparent cohesion.
Apparent cohesion is something different. That can have a different discussion. But many of the geotechnical engineers have this kind of confusion, because you know that these parameters, these C and phi parameters are basically, they are test dependent. Is it not? The kind of test that you perform, like suppose you perform UU test. If you perform UU test on saturated clay, suppose you are taking saturated clay and you perform UU test, you will get C value, but your phi value will be 0, because you get horizontal line. Is it not? If I'm able to convey the right message, all these Mohr circles will be horizontal and you will only get a horizontal envelope, and because of that you will have only C value and your phi U value will be 0. But if I perform UU test on saturated sand, this is for saturated clay. Even if I perform UU test on saturated sand, I am going to get C value and my phi will be 0. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
In the same way,
Yes,
in the
you are
same
right. But so it's upon the type of the triaxial test, if CCD or UU
yeah.
or
So if you perform, I
type
was
of
coming
the.
to that. I was coming to that. If you perform CD test, okay, on a saturated clay, if you perform a CD test, you are going to get C0 and you are going to get phi value. Is it not? Is it not? So same clay, same saturated clay, if you perform UU test, you are going to get C value and your phi will be 0. But on the same saturated clay, if you perform CD test, you are going to get C0 and you will have a phi value. So please, first of all, those who are the beginners or those who are learning this subject, this geotechnical engineering, they should be very, very clear on these parameters, and they should never get confused that these C and phi are the properties, inherent properties of the soil. They are not the inherent properties, they are test dependent properties. Okay, so but then why we are relating? Since long, why we are relating clay with C and sand with phi? Okay, that is the major challenge, because we know that K.
So, which type of test we put the parameters in the software? Which type of test we will put the parameters C and phi?
Yes, yes. So we have
CD
to see
test
the
or
field
UU
condition.
test or
That's a very good
CU
question.
test?
That's a very good
Which type
question. That's a very
of
good
parameter
question.
we will put in the software?
Yeah, yeah. So this is a very good question, that whether we should use UU parameters or whether we should use CD parameter. Is it not? That's your question. So you need to understand the field
Yes.
condition. You need to understand the field condition. If in the field undrained condition exists, okay, if in the field undrained condition exists, then you should take parameters that are obtained from UU test. If you think that in the field the drained condition will exist, or you give enough time for the pore water pressure to dissipate, like suppose you are talking about the long term stability. If you talk about long term stability, like suppose you want to check the stability of a slope after 5 years or 10 years, like that, okay, then there this drain condition will exist, because all the excess pore water pressure will dissipate by that time. So whenever you are checking for the long term stability, you go for the drain parameters like CD test. Okay, for long short term stability, suppose you are doing a construction at a very fast pace, at a very fast pace, okay, at a very fast pace, and you find that the soil that exists, the foundation soil that exists in the ground, the foundation soil exists in the ground, is going to face an undrained condition, because the way you are doing the construction is so fast that the pore water pressure which is developed in the foundation is not having enough time to get dissipate. Like suppose you want to do, when you are doing the construction of an embankment, in the same way, suppose your earth dam construction is going on at a very fast rate, there also undrained situation will exist, because the pore water pressure which is developed at site will not have enough time to dissipate. So there you have to take into account the parameters that are obtained from the UU test. Here also UU test. But for long-term stability, you take CD test results. So like that, the choice depends upon the field condition. Depends upon the field condition, based on which you take the parameter. Now, I hope I am able to explain or I am able to answer the question that was raised by you.
Yes, very clear explanation. Thank you, sir.
That's great. Now coming to my another confusion that normally students have in their mind, that whenever we talk about cohesion, they say that it is clay. Okay. And whenever we talk about friction angle, angle of internal friction or friction angle, they will simply say that it is sand. Now, why this confusion has come in the mind of the geotechnical engineers? The reason being that for a very long time, since we started this geotechnical engineering, and maybe you can say for 50 to 60 years of experience has actually changed our mind. Why it and how it has changed, I will explain to that. This clay, you know that this clay is having a very low permeability value, very low permeability value. Is it not? You all agree that clay has a very low permeability value?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So whenever you
Yes, of course. Of course.
yeah, coefficient of permeability of clay is very low, is it not? And whenever you do the construction on a clay, so the pore water pressure which is developed, in the foundation soil, because you will finish your construction. Suppose you are constructing a multi-story building, so you are going to construct this building in 3 to 4 years, is it not? Nowadays the construction is so fast that in 2 to 3 years or 3 to 4 years you will be able to construct a 20 or 22 story building. But then with this fast construction, if suppose you are constructing this on a foundation soil which is clay, and this is also saturated, suppose there is a water table, okay, somewhere around, so the pore water pressure which is developed in the foundation soil will not have enough time to escape. So here undrained condition will exist. Do you agree with me? And because in clay most of the times undrained condition exists, we always perform UU test, okay, on saturated clay. And because we always perform UU test, we always get C value, cohesion value, because we have understood that from UU test we only get cohesion. So since time immemorial, like because we have been doing this practice for a very long time, we always relate this clay with cohesion. Are you getting my point? On the other hand, when you deal with sand, sand has a high coefficient of permeability value, high permeability. Okay, so what happens here? Due to high value, this pore water pressure dissipates. Pore pressure dissipates immediately. Immediately, the excess pore water pressure will dissipate. I'm talking about the excess pore water pressure. Excess pore water pressure will dissipate because of the high permeability value. So here, in case of sand, always a drained condition exists. Always a drained condition exists, and we always try to perform CD test. This is simulated with the CD test, and we always get phi value, angle of internal friction. Angle of internal friction we only get phi, and that is the reason we always relate sand. We started relating sand with phi, and with time we have all forgotten this part. And what we say, clay means cohesion and sand means friction angle. That is the most funniest thing that I observe, and many people have this kind of confusion. So I just thought of that. I have this opportunity to explain to you all that how we have started relating cohesion with clay and friction angle with sand, forgetting the fundamental or understanding behind this.
Yes, sir.
So hope you enjoyed
this. I think everyone get clear over this.
Yeah. So that's the major challenge. I think this explanation must have helped many who are present over here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Vidyasagar, your voice is a bit low. Can you be a little loud so that
Yes,
I
sir.
can
A
understand?
few more questions are there now.
Yeah, there are more
We can
questions.
take that. Like one question is, what is the difference between the total M stage and total M weight multipliers?
Okay. M stage. See, just try to explain. I'll try to explain this. M stage means whenever you run the calculation. Okay. Like say, suppose you have applied a load of 100. So this load 100 is not applied at one time. Okay. It always applies in stages. Like it will apply 10% of the total load, 20% of the total load, 30% of the total load, 40%, like that. So it applies in stages. So it says in stages, like 10% applied, 0.1 of 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.6, till it reaches the one value. Like 1 M stage means that the calculation is over. The amount of load that you have applied has been applied. Are you getting my point? Vidyasagar, can you just show that the load settlement curve that you were showing yesterday or day before yesterday in one of the sessions? Yesterday only.
Yes, sir. I'm
You
opening
showed
that.
one load settlement curve, na?
Okay.
That was actually not load settlement curve. I will explain that. People get confused. Many of you get confused that this is a load settlement curve, but actually it shows that in stages, when you apply the load, how much deformation you achieve, and then finally when you reach to that level, when 100% of the load is applied, how much deformation is finally achieved. Vidyasekar, you can share your screen, then it will be easy for
Yes,
me
sir.
to
I'm opening that curve.
Okay, no issues. By the time I will read. So it has the same meaning. M weight multipliers means suppose you have applied a load of 100, then it will actually multiply, like it will divide, and then it will apply the load in stages. Means 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and 1. 1 means complete load has been applied on the model. Yusuf, are you here? Yusuf Kaya, if you are here, you can
This
respond.
one, sir.
He has left. Okay, no issues. So now you see here, you can just make it reverse so that. Can you just zoom out so that I can explain? So in this particular problem, what you did, you can just zoom out. Not visible.
Now I'm setting my entire screen. Then I think it will be visible.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you see here, just zoom out. Just zoom out. I just want to see what is written on the x-axis.
Okay, this is the settlement on the x-axis, deformation on the x-axis is the load.
You can just reverse it because it should start from 0 and then reach to the maximum value.
Okay,
if you just reverse it. No, not like that. This one. Now you see here on the x-axis, what is written?
Yeah, this is deformation.
No, deformation you make it on the y-axis and load on the x-axis. That will.
Now it is. This is the deformation on the y-axis and.
Now you see here on the x-axis it is. What is there?
Can you
just zoom out? Can you just zoom out?
No, it is not zooming here.
Okay. Whatever is written, you can see here. Oh, zooming in is there. So you see here, it is a 0 and then
0, 0.1, 0.2,
0.2,
0.3,
0.4, 0.5, 0.6,
up to 1.
0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and 1. 1 means, so what it is doing actually, it is applying the load in stages, because this is the case of flexible footing where you applied the load on the plate, is it not? So the
Yes.
Flaxsys doesn't apply the complete load on the model in one go. It applies the load in stages. Okay, so you can see corresponding to each stage of load application, it calculates the deformation, and then you see when it comes to one means the complete load of whatever you have given has been applied on the model, and corresponding to that, the corresponding to that load, the total deformation was obtained as point. What is written here?
0.05
0.05. So
meter.
yeah, so that means that corresponding to when, so based on that, from here also you can see that if you multiply, suppose you have applied 100 kPa of load, then it can be converted to an extent in a load settlement curve. Like in the sense that suppose you want to know that at 10 kPa how much deformation was there. So you, from this curve you can also read the deformation at 10 kPa, at 20, 30, or anywhere. So this particular curve can also be treated as a load settlement curve, but then you have to be in between the total amount of load that you have applied and zero. So from zero to total amount, in between you can read that how much deformation at that particular node will be there when you apply a particular load less than the total load that you have applied. Are you able to follow what I'm trying to convey?
Yes, sir.
That's great if you are able to follow. Yeah, activation and deactivation is one of the most prominent feature of this Flaxsys software. You have seen that how easily we can activate and deactivate the element, and then we can see that how it participates in the calculation. So this is one of the most important and prominent feature of Flaxsys. Another feature that you have studied, understood today is the staged construction. So at every stage, suppose you have excavated a level or stage 1, level 1 or stage 1, then you can see that what will be the deformation, what will be the deformation pattern, or the stresses that will be acting on the structural element. So this is one of the most important parameters. See, you can also it's up to you. You can lower down the water level in stages also. Okay, that's not an issue. Because suppose you are doing excavation and you are pumping also, if there is a water and you are doing excavation below the groundwater, and then there will be water in the excavated area, and suppose if you are pumping out, then you can accordingly define the water level. Okay, so you can always define that water level is at the bottom of the excavation. That you can always do. Yeah, we just demonstrated. And we just demonstrated the problem which is solved in the manual is solved in the same way, in the same fashion, so that the beginners who are present here, they don't get confused. That was the main purpose, because the session is recorded. After that, what they will do, they will go back and they will install the software and they will try to redo the exercise. So at that time, they should not get confused. And that's why we have not done any experimentation with the tutorial problem, which is already given in the manual. We have just tried solving the same problem as it is, so that we get the same results. But then you can do experimentation when you are confident, when you can play with the software, you can do a lot of experimentation. That is not an issue.
Yeah, that's why we are not putting any those type of inputs in this software, because it may get any error in between.
See,
So we don't have that much of time.
that is true, because when you start learning the driving, then you find open ground, okay, and then slowly you start running your vehicle on the less populated area, then you go to the congested area, and slowly you learn, and then finally when you are perfect in driving the car, then you go out and go for the long drive, okay, then you try to move further and then you try to explore the hilly area, whether you can drive on hilly areas or not, or on hill roads. So you improve your competency, your efficiency with time. Okay, so because this session, in this particular session, all kind of participants are there. Few are learners, few are you have already understood this software, and there may be few who are experts also. So we have to cater the needs of all. Yeah, low cohesion. See, this I already explained that why clay has a low cohesion and high angle of internal friction. I think now, Mahbub, if you are here, you can just confirm that the explanation given by me is understood by you. Why we have taken C low? We cannot give zero. If I'm sure, we cannot give zero cohesion because it will cause numerical instability in the model. So when you do the calculation, you have to give a minimum value of cohesion. That's the reason it is given 1. If you give it 0, the program will show error. So you have to assign a minimum value of cohesion. So minimum, it can be 1 or it can be 0.1 also. That's not an issue. Again, the reason is same. Why 0.499 and not even 0.5? Because you know that if you give 0.5, so the solution becomes infinity, and it will cause the numerical instability. Is it not? So I'm able to address most of the questions that are given or that are asked in the chat box. Hope you enjoyed the today's session. See, this positive and negative interface, it has no physical meaning. To be very honest, if you read the manual, it is just shows that you have applied. Suppose you started applying interface on one side, so it will be positive, and if you apply the interface on the other side, it will be negative. It will just show that positive negative means you are on the two sides of this element. That's all. The R value has a different meaning because the amount of R value that you provide decides the strength and stiffness parameters of, or the strength or stiffness characteristic of the interface element. So there you have to be careful by selecting the R value. Normally what we do, we take the default values. But if you are very confident that you can have a different R value, you take that. Okay, so why you used two different soil models, and also for clay you took permeability value 0.001. Yeah, you can take that, but what was the unit of this 0.001? It was meter per second or millimeter per second? That we need to check. Otherwise, see, that's not an issue. You can always give your parameters of your choice based on the test results or the values that you obtain from the literature. So you can have your own.
Meter per day. It is in meter per day.
That's great. So I think almost I have answered all the questions in the chat box. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being with us. And I am sure that you have filled the feedback form. If you have filled, you can sign off. And we will meet tomorrow again at 7 p.m. exactly as per Indian Standard Time. So till then, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the learning online. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Vidyasagar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all the participants.
Thank you, Amit sir, and thank you, Vidya sir. It's been a
Thank you,
great
Vidyasagar sir.
program of
Thank you, Amit
learning.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amit sir. Thank you, Vidyasagar sir. Thank you so much for this good session.